Santa's stripping his clothes off!
Hi everyone.
Hey guys, today I will show you how to play Jingle All the Way, It's Turbo Time card game, based on the Christmas movie Jingle All the Way, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is what you get in this 2 to 4 player game. Instructions: 16 toy tiles, 4 reference cards, 1 for each participating player, 36 cards with powers on them, and a Turbo Time figure. The reference cards show you briefly how to play on one side and scoring on the other. To set up the game, each player takes 1 reference card and places it to their left. You may look at this reference card at any time if you need help. Then, of all 16 of the toy tiles, you'll take 4 of them that say booster, and then the remaining 12 forms the shelf. I will show you what the shelf looks like in just a moment. Each player gets 1 booster, and if the game has less than 4 players, take any unused boosters and remove them for the game, as they will not be used. Take your booster and place it face down to the right of your reference card. This area right in here is called your cart. As you play, you will store more toys in your cart. Then you're going to take all 36 cards, shuffle them all up, and deal 5 cards to each player. You may look at your cards, but don't let anyone else see what you got. After dealing the cards, you'll be taking the rest of the deck and placing it face down on the table, then leave room next to it for a discard pile. Remember the shelf that I mentioned earlier? This is what it looks like. You'll be taking the remaining 12 toy tiles and then shuffle them all up face down, then rearrange them into a grid shown like this to create the shelf. Then, the player who most recently received the present, or simply decide who goes first, takes the Turbo Man figure. Turn order goes clockwise. Once everyone is set up and ready to go, the shelf should be in the center area, and everyone's own play area should look like this. Each round has 5 steps. Play cards, use card powers, take toys from the shelf, Turbo Time, and draw cards. Step 1. Play cards. Starting with the player that has the Turbo Man figure, each player plays 1 card from their hand and places it face up on the table. Do not use the power yet until all of the players have played their card. Then you move on to step number 2, use the card powers. For step 2, I'm going to give you an example. Player 1 played this for a card. Player 2, Player 3, and Player 4. So now step 2 has begun, and everyone's going to use their card powers. The player that played the card that has the highest value uses their power first. So player 2 gets to go first because they have a 31, which is higher than the other cards. Player 2 uses their power first. Then player 4 goes second because they have the second highest with 27. Player 1 goes third because they have the second lowest score with 18. And then unfortunately for player 3, with a measly 2 on their card, they use their power last. There are 5 different powers in this game, and I will go over those a little bit later. Once everyone has played their powers, on step 2, move on to step 3. Take toys from the shelf. The player who played the highest card from step 2 takes any 1 toy from the shelf and then places it face down in their cart and to the right of any toy tiles in their cart. The player who played the second highest card from step 2 does the same exact thing. They take any 1 toy from the shelf and places it face down in their cart and to the right of any toy tiles in their cart. Now there is a special rule for those who are playing just a 2-player game. Both players are guaranteed to take a toy, but the player who played the highest card is allowed to peek at any 1 of the toys on the shelf, and if they think that toy is going to be advantageous to them, they may take it. Otherwise, they can take any other face-down toy from the shelf and add it to their cart. Step 4. Turbo Time. The player that played the lowest card from Step 2 gets control of the Turbo Man figure. Now, the manual does not state what happens to the player who played the second lowest card in the event of a 4-player game. So I'll just say this. Nothing. So in a 4-player game, if you played the second lowest card in step number 2, you neither get the Turbo Man figure, nor do you take a toy from the shelf. You get nothing except the benefit of the power you just played in step 2. Step 5. Draw cards. All cards that were played in step 2 are sent to the discard pile, and each player will draw cards from the deck until each player has 5 cards in their hands. But to the player who just received the Turbo Man figure in the same round as a result from playing the lowest card in step 2, gets to discard as many cards as they want from their hand, then draw cards from the deck until they have 5 cards in their hand. If the deck ever runs out of cards, simply shuffle the discard pile and create a new deck. And that is it for the steps. Simply rinse and repeat going through steps 1 through 5. Continue playing until all 12 toy tiles have been claimed so that the shelf is empty. Before I move on to card powers, there's one thing I like to address about toys. Toys remain face down unless a card power flips them face up. Players may look at the toys in their own cart at any time that they want, even if those toys are face down. Whenever you peek at a toy, you look at it carefully without letting anyone else look at it, and then you return it face down to where it was. Whenever you take a toy from the shelf, you have to place it to the right of all other toys in your cart. And whenever you swap 2 toys, they exchange places. If you take or swap a toy that is face up, that specific toy remains face up. Now it's time to talk about card powers. All of the card powers except for shuffle can be used on any toy. It doesn't have to be a toy just from the shelf. You can even pick a toy from an opponent's cart. Use that to your advantage. The first power is swap. Swap any 2 toys. So for some examples, you can choose to swap a toy from your cart with a toy from one of your opponent's carts. You can choose to swap a toy from your cart with one of the toys on the shelf. Or you can even swap a toy from one of your opponent's carts with another toy from another of your opponent's carts and screw them over. And remember, if any swapped toy is face up, it stays face up. Peek. Peek at any 3 toys. I advise that you do not use this power on your own toys in your own cart because you can peek at your own toys in your cart at any time. So you can choose to peek at toys from the shelf or from your opponent's carts. Any 3 toys that you want to peek at. Peek and swap. The benefits of swap and peek from earlier, except you can only peek at 1 toy instead of 3. But after you made your peek, you can then swap any 2 toys. And if you think that the toy that you just peeked at with this power is not going to be beneficial to you, then you don't have to swap with that toy that you just peeked at. Flip. Flip any toy face up. You may swap it with a toy in your cart, but you don't have to. Pretty straightforward as it says, but remember, any face up toy from this power stays face up until the last card power is played, which is shuffle. Flip all toys in your cart face down, then shuffle them. In addition though, all face up toys, no matter where they are in this game, are now flipped face down. And after you've done your shuffling in your cart, you may peek at your toys in your cart immediately. And that is all 5 card powers. Use them to your advantage and try to get the best toys in your cart. As a little reference, the round starts with the player that has the Turbo Man figure and plays their card first. In step 2, the player who played the lowest card then takes control of the Turbo Man figure, starting the next round. Continue playing until all 12 of the toy tiles are removed from the shelf, in which, at that point, the shelf is empty and the game is over. At that point, everyone tallies up their points. Use the scoring on your reference card to help you out. The player who scored the most points wins the game. If there's a tie, the tied player that has the most toys in their cart wins the game. Now you're probably wondering how the scoring works, and so I will show you. There are 7 unique toys amongst the toy tiles, and if you have any of these 4 in your cart when the game is over, tallying them up as shown. The first one is a gift certificate. It is worth 5 points. The lottery ball is worth 8 points. The best one of the bunch, Turbo Man himself, he's worth 10 points. And then there's Counterfeit Turbo Man, in which you lose 5 points if you have him in your cart at the end of the game. Beware of him. The last 3 toys give a unique amount of points based on the conditions. The first one we'll go over is Booster. It says it's worth 2 points, but you can get more according to the chart. For each booster that you have in your cart at the end of the game, you get more points. So 1 booster is worth 2 points, 2 of them in your cart's worth 4, 3 of them are worth 9, and so forth. The more boosters you have in your cart, the more points you get. Next are demons. They work just like boosters. The first one's only worth 2 points, and the more you have, the more points you get. But there are only 4 demons in this game. And if you have all 4, you get the maximum number of points from those demons. And finally, Dementor. He is worth 3 points, and if you have him in your cart with no demons in your cart, he's only worth 3 points. As long as you have 1 or more demons in your cart, then Dementor is worth 6 points. And that is how you play Jingle All the Way, It's Turbo Time card game. I will now end it off by showing you all 36 illustrations from all of the cards, starting with the Peek and Swap and going in numerical order. Number 1, Number 2, Number 3, Number 4, Number 5, Number 6. Moving on to swap cards now. Number 7, Number 8, Number 9, Number 10, Number 11, Number 12, Number 13, Number 14. Now we have flip cards. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Now we have peek cards. 21, 22, 23. Ah! Santa's tripping his clothes off! Anyways. 24, 25, 26, 27. Santa, stop stripping already! Come on! 28. Then we have shuffle cards. 29. Ouch! 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, a swing and a miss, 35, and 36. And that will do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe for more, and don't forget to check out my gaming channel, Markis P Gaming, for video game Let's Play content. I will see you later, but until then, like always, take care.